Healing Psalm, the psalm that cures any disease. Have you ever felt like you're carrying a weight so heavy that your heart aches? Like no matter how much you try, the pain, whether in your body, mind, or soul, just won't go away? Maybe it's an illness that medicine can't seem to fix. Maybe it's a wound so deep that even time hasn't healed it. In moments like these, it's easy to feel lost, abandoned, as if the darkness has swallowed every bit of light. But let me tell you something. God has not forgotten you. Psalm 30 is a reminder of that. It's a declaration that healing is real, that restoration is possible, and that no suffering lasts forever. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. That's not just poetry. It's a divine promise. Right now, as you listen to this, I want you to take a deep breath, close your eyes for a second, and imagine God standing right beside you. His presence isn't far away. It's here, closer than your own heartbeat. He sees your pain. He hears your silent prayers. And he's already preparing your healing. Because no matter how deep the valley, how dark the night, or how impossible the situation feels, God is greater. And Psalm 30 is proof that he turns mourning into dancing, sorrow into joy, and sickness into strength. This is just the beginning of your healing journey. Stay with me, and let's take the step of faith together. There's something about pain that makes us cry out in ways we never have before. When everything is going well, it's easy to forget how much we need God. But when sickness strikes, when anxiety won't let us rest, when life feels like it's slipping through our fingers, that's when our souls cry out the loudest. And you know what? God hears. Psalm 30 isn't just about healing. It's about a desperate cry that reaches heaven. Lord my God, I called to you for help, and you healed me. Imagine the psalmist standing on the edge of despair, lifting his voice, not knowing if anyone is listening. But then God moves. The sickness fades. The sorrow lifts. Hope rises again. Maybe you've been there. Maybe you whispered prayers in the middle of the night, asking God why the pain won't stop. Maybe you begged for healing but felt like heaven was silent. But listen, heaven is never silent. Even when you can't see it, God is working. Even when you don't feel it, he's moving things in ways beyond your understanding. Your cry has already reached him. And just like in Psalm 30, your healing is not a matter of if, but when. Hold on. Keep believing. Because the same God who turned the psalmist's pain into praise is the same God who is holding you right now. There's something about the darkness that makes us believe it will never end. When you're sick, when the weight of life presses down on your chest, when the days blur into sleepless nights, it feels like the sun will never rise again. But Psalm 30 carries a promise that changes everything. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. This verse isn't saying that pain doesn't exist. It acknowledges that suffering is real. The night will come. The tears will fall. But here's the key. They won't last forever. Think about it. When you're in the middle of the storm, it's easy to believe that the rain will never stop. But no matter how violent the storm is, it always passes. The clouds break. The sun shines again. It's the same with your pain. Maybe right now, you feel stuck in the middle of the longest, darkest night of your life. Maybe healing seems impossible, and every prayer feels like an unanswered echo. But let me remind you of something powerful. Morning always comes. You may not know how. You may not see when. But God is already preparing the sunrise for you. The sickness that feels endless, it has an expiration date. The heartbreak that seems unbearable, it will be healed. The fear that keeps you up at night, it will be silenced. Because the God who promised joy in the morning never breaks his promises. So hold on. The night doesn't last forever. Have you ever felt so broken that you thought you'd never feel joy again? Like the pain was too deep, the sickness too overwhelming, the weight of it all just too much to bear? That's exactly where the psalmist was when he wrote Psalm 30. But then, something miraculous happened. You turned my mourning into dancing. You removed my sackcloth and clothed me with joy. God didn't just bring relief. He brought transformation. He didn't simply take away the pain. He replaced it with joy. And that's what he wants to do in your life. 2. Think about it. When you're mourning, dancing is the last thing on your mind. Mourning is heavy. It weighs on your soul, making even the smallest steps feel impossible. But when God steps in, everything changes. He doesn't leave you in ashes. He doesn't let grief be your final chapter. He lifts you up, restores your strength, and fills you with a joy so deep that you can't help but move again. Maybe you're wondering, but how? How do I go from mourning to dancing? It starts with surrender. Not the kind of surrender where you give up, but the kind where you place your pain in God's hands, where you let Him take the weight you've been carrying, where you choose to believe, even when you can't see it yet, that His promise of healing is true. Because one day, sooner than you think, you'll look back at this moment and you'll see what God was doing all along. The night will be over, the healing will come, and your mourning, it will turn into dancing. Have you ever noticed how, in the Bible, healing is never just about the body? Every time Jesus healed someone, He wasn't just curing an illness. He was restoring a soul, bringing peace to a troubled heart, and proving that God's love is deeper than any pain. That's exactly what Psalm 30 reveals. Lord my God, I called to you for help and you healed me. The psalmist didn't just say, you took away my sickness. He said, you healed me. That's a complete healing, mind, body, and spirit. Maybe the healing you need today isn't just physical. Maybe your heart is tired. Maybe your faith feels weak. Maybe you've been carrying something so heavy that it's left scars on your soul. But let me remind you, God's healing isn't just for your body. It's for your entire being. When Jesus touched the blind, they saw. When He spoke to the crippled, they walked. But when He healed the brokenhearted, they found purpose again. And that same healing is for you. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to be strong enough on your own. All you need to do is come to Him, call on Him, just like the psalmist did. Because when you do, His hands, scarred by love, stretched out in mercy, will lift you up, restore you, and bring you the peace you've been searching for. Healing isn't just something God does. It's who He is. And He's holding your healing right now. Waiting for healing is hard. Whether it's waiting for a physical illness to be cured, for emotional wounds to heal, or for peace to finally settle in your heart. It's in the waiting that doubt starts to creep in. You pray, you believe, but when the answer doesn't come right away, the questions start. Is God really listening? Does He see my pain? What if healing isn't meant for me? Psalm 30 reminds us of something powerful. Healing isn't just about the miracle. It's about the faith that carries you through the waiting. You, Lord, brought me up from the realm of the dead. You spared me from going down to the pit. The psalmist had been in a place of complete despair. He had tasted sorrow so deep it felt like death itself. But he held on. He cried out to God, even when he couldn't see the answer yet. And that's what faith looks like. Faith isn't just believing when everything is perfect. It's trusting when nothing makes sense. It's holding on to the promise of healing. Even when your body still aches, even when the pain still lingers. Because here's the truth. God's delays are not His denials. Just because you don't see the healing yet doesn't mean it's not coming. Just because the night still feels long doesn't mean the morning isn't on its way. So, what do you do while you wait? You keep praying. You keep trusting. You keep declaring God's promise over your life. Because the God who healed the psalmist, the God who raised the dead, the God who never failed a single one of His children, is the same God who is working in your life right now. Your healing is coming. Keep the faith. Take a deep breath. Let this truth sink in. God has not forgotten you. Every tear you've cried, every prayer you've whispered in the quiet night, every moment you felt like giving up, He has seen it all. And He is working, even now, in ways you can't yet see. Psalm 30 isn't just an old scripture. It's your promise. You turn my mourning into dancing. You remove my sackcloth and clothe me with joy. This is what God does. He takes what's broken and makes it whole. He takes the pain that felt unbearable and transforms it into a testimony. He takes your deepest wounds and turns them into something beautiful. Your healing is already on the way. It may not come the way you expect. It may not happen on your timeline. But one thing is certain, God is faithful. If He said the night will end, it will. If He promised joy in the morning, it will come. So right now, wherever you are, I want you to do something. Close your eyes for just a moment and whisper this. Lord, I trust you. I believe my healing is coming. And I know that you are with me every step of the way. And He is. Before we go, tell me, where are you watching from? Let's build this community of faith together. And if this message spoke to your heart, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Let's keep spreading the word, because someone out there needs us just as much as you did today. May God bless you, may He restore you, and may you walk forward in the healing and joy that He has already prepared for you. I'll see you in the next video.